Yep, I'm Karl, owner, founder, curator, creator of Pray for Love. It goes by Pray if you locally, know the brand. Just out here trying to pass along a message through these very recognizable pieces.
All right, so Carl, let's start from the beginning, the origins. Tell us about who you are. Who is Carl? Because a lot of people see a brand, and nowadays the person that you are your brand. Tell us who you are.
So I purposely didn't make the brand about me. So what the brand is inadvertently about me, but it's like you wouldn't be able to know unless we did more of these. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't really want to associate my personal with the message because it can kind of get diluted. But me as a person, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a son to Jamaican immigrants or migrants, I should say. Just grew up in 3, 4 different countries. Got to see the world a lot, so my perspective on the world is not from, a point of view that's on the ground level. It's definitely bigger than what the normal, I guess, everyday human being gets to see in this country or this organization that we live in. Yeah, the brand itself is a representation of just the work. Pray is a question. It's a it's almost like asking for something, but then Prey is actually going out there doing the work. So, I chose Prey, for the love. Love is everything that you desire in this world. You got to work for it. There's no man in biblical history that didn't have to work their ass off for these blessings. So we pray daily.
So talk to us a little bit about how your journey came to about creating Pray. So before this brand, or actually before you got to this point today, what does your life look like before you got to where you are today?
So this is my third brand. I've been at it for 10 years. Pray is just the culmination of my growth through life from about 2011 to now. So having 2 previous brands that really didn't do that well because I couldn't really engage in them the way that I would like. Pray for Love is a representation of my family. So the four is my wife, myself, and my 2 children. That's where the 4 comes from. The love is them, living a fruitful life and being able to experience things that I may not have been, afforded the chances to do. And then the pray is just the work. So I work for, my loved ones to be able to, excel and expand on life, in a better way than I was able to. And not saying that I'm done in any way, shape, or form, but just speaking on today, my son is 4 and my daughter is 2. So by the time they get to my age of 35, like they'll be much better off and much better prepared to be able to not have to get it out the mud and really be able to just take it from where I set the bar. Well, myself and my wife, but yeah.
So you said this is your third brand. Talk to us a little bit about some of the struggles and pitfalls that you hit and how those things may have helped you ultimately come to the point where it's like, okay, now I think I got it. I think master how I want to create what I want to create.
The first 2 was, I think I depended too much on outside sources, like, whether it's brand influencers, athletes, entertainers, even just your friends, at the time. So a lot of it for me was being able to learn how to do the work, not just doing the work, but learn how to do it in a more feasible manner that was gonna work for me, rather than catering to all these different entities that were offering up, their idea on what I should be doing. And I'm a person that I used to listen to a lot of suggestions, but it became very evident later on that like everybody knows how to do something, but not everybody knows how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can tell you, but nobody was showing me. Like they was like, yeah, you should do this, you should do that. So toss those 2 to the side, and then we got to Pray. And I just really was focused on doing the work more than like being the guy in front of the lens. Like I really wanted to be behind the scenes doing the work and let the brand grow, organically as possible. That way you connected with the story rather than the person. Because a lot of us, we think that it's always going to be about us. I don't have an ego in that way to make it about me. Like, if you connect with the story and the reason why I named it the, what I did, and you tap in on Sundays with the daily prayers, like, or the Sunday prayers, you'll be able to piece it together. And I pray that you come through and support the cause. You know what I'm saying? And keep us growing and going.
Has it been hard to stay out of the forefront, like with your brand and like the success that you have been, you know, experiencing, and like with everybody, being curious about, wow, this is a quality product. Like, who is this? Has it been hard for you to kind of stay out of the forefront?
It hasn't been hard. It's becoming more it's becoming more important for me to be able to get the story out there and show face a little bit more, because the message is being gravitated to without me having to explain it as much. So I think it's a better balance than in years past. Like, this has only been a full year of this brand, and to even be sitting right here, speaking about it, I never got these opportunities with my two previous brands, and nobody really connected with those brands in the way that I envisioned it. But I also wasn't I'm not even that person anymore that even, embarked on those paths of the past. So I'm definitely not even the same, the same guy mentally, spiritually, emotionally. I have way more, way more life responsibilities than I did at that time. So I had to slow down and really be as methodical as possible so that, everything goes according to plan, because this is how we eat.
So, a couple of things. So you said this is your first full year. So that means your first full year was during the pandemic, right?
Correct.
Talk to us about that experience. Like, were there pitfalls in the beginning? Was it tough, or did it just, did it go smooth? Talk to us a little bit about that experience.
I think it was none of the above. Like, it didn't go smooth. It wasn't really too many pitfalls. I really just, bought some equipment. I got back to the, to the core of what doing the work would be, is investing in yourself, investing in your product, and not just, embellishing a garment and just putting it out there like it was, like I was showing people what I was doing every day. I was in my basement, at my in-laws' house at that. Like, I just moved back from Florida maybe 3 years ago. 2019 was all about Elle's Kitchen, pushing my wife's brand, cause she's a chef. I do my thing in the kitchen, but I'm just there to offer up the help. But ultimately, I said that she would never work for another man or underneath anyone. She would be her own everything and have her man go and do the work that, was ordained to me at birth. You know what I'm saying? So pray for it is the advancement of that whole ideology. Like, you gotta show and prove. Like, talk is, definitely cheap. And last year, dealing with, the pandemic in a way, like, I bought a house last year, not because, I was afraid. Like, I had to have the confidence enough to say, like, hey, like, this is what we're gonna do. And that confidence came from my wife, because she's fearless in that way. So, ultimately, she's the lioness, in the pack. The women in the lions, pack, they do the hunting. So just take that as, you can look like Mufasa, or, you know what I'm saying, but who's going to go do the work. So yeah, I mean, it was cool. Like, it wasn't as bad for me because, I didn't really have to deal with the virus part of it, but at the same time, you definitely felt the effects, on a global standpoint, because I'm an empath. So seeing people go through things, like, I don't record myself donating or, feeding and offering my help in those ways, where other people definitely, they had no shame in that. But I don't feel like I will get to where I am if I just always showcase what I'm doing. Like, I'm here for that. Like, I was put here for that by someone, so.
Your family seems to be a big part of your brand. Is it easier to get up in the morning and, like, go to work doing what you're doing, knowing that your family is tied to it? Like, talk to us a little bit about that. Like, how is that for you? Are they inspiration, or the sole purpose? Is it easier to be motivated and to grind when you know you're doing it for what you're doing it for?
I'm buying my time back. you lose so much time at these, uh, at these conventional 9 to 5s. It's like, the accepted government jobs, office jobs, whatever. And we need people like that to keep the economy going. But from a social standpoint, or I was alcoholic at one point, like just to be quite honest, and it was because I was drinking so much socially. Like my social life took over, my entire life. You know what I'm saying? So being able to come to terms with that, like it puts you in a different perspective going forward. So like now, waking up every day, like $15 for me is not worth an hour of my time. But a lot of people have bills to pay and they don't have the same skill set. They're not, they're not able to create or utilize certain talents to be able to monetize their time. Like I'm monetizing my time now because I'm going to get paid efficiently and definitely be able to get paid abundantly because I'm utilizing my time better. And my family is a big reason why I wanted to buy my time back because I'm just, like my kids have never been to daycare. They've been with their mother and I, so that was something that I missed. I missed a lot. So me embarking on, a brand or any business endeavor is for that main purpose.
So let's get a little bit into fashion. And this connection to people. Like we see a lot of times, like with mainstream brands, they use a lot of, polarizing figures, athletes, entertainers to kind of connect with people. Traditionally, in different cultures, fashion and fabric, mean different things in different cultures. Talk to us about, do you incorporate any of that into your brand, like the connection with the people and like culture into your brand?
Inadvertently, yes, but not consciously, because I don't really want, like I'm still in the branding phase of everything. So you can't really, even with us, like in a society, like you can't really force feed things to our people. Like we're such a strong people, no matter what's being portrayed out there. Like just know how stubborn we are in the things that we believe in and the things that we choose to do. Like it's nobody that's forcing us to do these things. So imagine me putting these images out there or incorporating certain things in my clothes that are coming off too direct and too abrasive, to where people are like, yo, I can't wear this. Like they got Rodney King, on the floor getting whooped. You know what I'm saying? They're saying stop police even though it's saying stop police brutality, they going, they like, nah, I'm not like I can't wear this. I'm not brave enough to wear this, because it's gonna cause a little uproar, a lot of uproar especially in the city now, because it's getting so one-sided. A lot of our people are getting run out. So when you walk around and you have like the homie Mo, like with a masterpiece what I'm saying, of history, like people see that and they're gonna get offended. They're gonna be like, whoa, like what do you mean black people? You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like black people. It's like, well, I'm not even black. Like let's just go with that. But then it's gonna evolve into more of a bigger dialogue than I care to involve myself in with people that really are not gonna get it. So I try to work inside out from the people around me, and then we go into that. So maybe in the curation of a certain image that I may create, it's like I am conscious of it, but unconsciously I'm not. I mean, I am unconsciously aware of it, but consciously I'm not trying to do it. Like I'm not going out of my way to be super militant with the designs. I want you to take it and just have the courage to do it in your life. Because I'm doing it, but I'm not here to try and sabotage myself in that way in the industry where the doors are not really open for us anyway. So,
what about your creation process? Like, are you able to just like hop up in the morning, feed the kids, do activities with the kids, if work with the family, then come back in the crib and like create? Or is it like specific things, like you ain't gotta get your secret sauce, but or do you like have like a specific process you gotta go through to be able to create, or like a mindset you gotta put yourself in?
No, I'm creating every day. Like I was born that way. Like I played basketball from about 7th grade to the age of 25. And, in between that time, like no one ever told me that I can be successful with my artistic side. Like I always got A's in art. But then you take me to U.S. history, and I'm like, this is bogus. Like, this is some BS. Like, why am I forced to, to memorize and regurgitate this mindless information that's just depicting slaughtering of, of a people that did nothing but teach another set of people. And that may be a little offensive to some, but I feel like it's very empowering to me. So I try to take it as like I'm not dealing with, like I'm fortunate enough to not have to go through that, but then I'm still aware that I could, be breeding the babies that may have to go through it in the future. So it's definitely like I got to continue to create, and creating is not just the clothing, like not just the ideas, but more so creating a reality that's empowering to my my family, my two children, my wife, and my grandchildren to come. So yes, I'm very much able to create on the fly. Like I got a notebook in the car that I'm always just jotting down ideas, and different brand ideas that I may want to start in the next year or two. Like always creating, like
Locked and loaded.
Yeah, like always.
So you said you played basketball. Did anything transfer from like an athletic career to like the business side, or like was it like a whole nother space you put yourself in?
It's the same thing. It's a mind game you play with yourself, because a lot of people, I'm 6'1" on a good day. So, 6'1" in high school to like 180, 185 at most. 18 years old, like you got to think, you had Dwight Howards and Josh Smiths and Josh Smiths, J.R. Smiths, like all of these people that I grew up, like, playing against, my high school years. It was very much so like discouraging at times to know that like I didn't have a plan B, but nobody really gaslighted my plan A. And it was coaches that were telling me all the time, like, yeah, like this is your ticket out. But it's like, well, there's plenty of tickets that I can punch to get out. But you telling me that this basketball is my one and only way. So then think about the mindset that the mindset that it breeds on a lot of these young athletes. Like they have no other way to think, and then they fail at it, and it's like, well, some are going to be committing crimes, maybe selling weed on the side and you may look at them as Division I athletes and not even know that they struggling, they're broke, but we put them up here. We put a lot of entertainers up here. Like we do this to our own because we do not highlight, the fact that we can do all things, but we tend to put, the running, jumping, shooting, rapping, singing, like that's not for everybody, but we're not allowing our people to really see. Well, we weren't allowing in my time, like we weren't allowing our people to really see that these doors get open for us. So me growing up, just speaking candidly about myself, I really didn't see any other way besides dribbling that ball and putting it in the basket and figuring something out.
Do you think it's irresponsible in a way for like the culture that a lot of young athletes come up in, where just the sports is pushed as far as like a way out, or do you think that's kind of like, because a lot of people, for some of them it does work. They may not go pro, but they might get a scholarship to college, and they might find another career or a second level. Do you think it's irresponsible to just push sports like as we do as a culture, or do you think it just needs to be a balance of like how we put that pressure on youth as far as like athletics being a way out?
It definitely needs to be a balance. I think it's too much emphasis on being an athlete and not enough emphasis on being a human. So we look at LeBron, we put LeBron at God status, Jordan God status, Kobe God status, because we're mourning, we start mourning these people more than we mourn our own, our own flesh and blood. And I think it has to be a fine line between, what we're teaching these children growing up, as far as like not giving them a fair shot. Like we don't give them a fair shake at life. And I don't know if it's purposely or just, you didn't know, so this is what you grew up seeing your peers chasing, so you push that, or you may have failed. Like we definitely live through our children in that way. I luckily, didn't have a father or a mother that was trying to live through me. Like, I just wish that they were more supportive early on of my other talents rather than seeing what these coaches were telling them. Like, yeah, he's one of the best eighth graders and blah blah blah, and then you get to ninth grade and you think you're the man, and then you peak at 14, and then nobody's even asking you, hey, are you okay? Can you, like, are you interested in anything else? Like, what about filling out a college application? Hey, college is bullshit. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Like, they not giving me alternatives. I had to figure all this stuff out myself, and this isn't to hold that over my mom or my dad's head because they never went to college. My dad never finished ninth grade. I don't know what level of education my mom completed. You know what I'm saying? I know she didn't go to college, but those things are motivational to me. But I was also born with that mental fortitude to figure shit out. Like, I just don't think that everybody's born with that, so they need a good support system and be able to balance that out. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I think it definitely is irresponsible to only push one way. I'm not saying that you need a plan B. I'm saying that, hey, plan A, you could have exhausted it to the best of your ability. Plan A .1, you haven't even tapped in, and you've been doing it with no effort, and it's successful. Like, hey, let's try plan A1, because you can use plan A as the platform to promote your plan A1. Like, I definitely have a lot of athletes that support me because they are former teammates, former associates, opponents, so on and so forth. So I don't really have to go begging for that, or like going against it and lashing out at I hate basketball. I don't hate the people that play the basketball game.
You hate the game now?
The game is, yeah, that's a whole nother.
You ain't get to
That's a whole nother.
Talk to us a little bit about how important a support system is, like doing what you're doing. Like, how important is it to have like support?
It's necessary. Look at all the great artists that have like off themselves, whether drugs, drug usage, just committing suicide, self-sabotage. Like, not having that right support system can ultimately be your demise. You can be at the highest of highs and the next day be at the lowest of lows, and it's because you've had to get there alone and deal with it alone, and then you fall and you're alone. The only thing you're gonna have is people, talking about you. They was talking about you on your way up, and now they're gonna talk shit about you on your way down. So that also is why I have, I'm spiritual, so I do read my Bible and try to decipher, the wording in it, and just to know, like, one thing that it repeatedly says is, like, you shouldn't idolize anything. No material, no man, no statues, nothing. But that's what we do. We promote idolatry in our culture, in this societal culture. So it sometimes puts us, at a disadvantage, because you may look at, like, your support system. You could be searching for your parents to be your support system, right? But you don't got not one picture of your daddy on your wall. But you got a million pictures of these, Allen Iverson, whoever, you know what I'm saying? Michael Jordan, LeBron James, whoever, like, just to, just as examples. DMX, whatever, like, what are these people doing for your life that your parents aren't directly doing? Your support system is feeding you, clothing you, providing a stable environment for you, I pray. And then when you decide to go and achieve certain things, your support system is paying for them, them fees of, whether you want to play an instrument, a sport, be in any after school activities, etc. What are you paying for it at 12, 13 years old? You can't do that. That's your support system right there. But we have to do a better job as parents now to explain that to our children. Like, hey, I'm going to support you in many ways. Just understand that this is all a culmination of the same thing, which is being there to help you plant the seed and water it and watch it grow in many directions. You can be a tree and have a million branches. The foundation just always got to be the foundation. And the foundation starts with our support, as now speaking as a parent. So yes, support is very, very imperative for longevity. Because people can make it and be like, I got it on my own. I did it myself, and then they disappear. And you don't know what happened. And you're like, I don't know where I went wrong. That's what their parents gonna say, but they was never there.
Growing up, you know, in DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, it's a lot of different brands: the Audads, the Hobos, the Shooters, the Madness. Um, and fashion in DC, in a unique sense, was kind of always big here in its own unique way. Did that scene have any influence on you, or did you just, say, hey, look, I want to kind of create something different?
Yeah, I feel like it did affect me and it didn't. Like, I didn't gravitate to it in the way of like going and buying these products, but it was around, my friends loved it because my friends were, born, raised, still currently live in these places, right? So I just feel like it was unavoidable. Like it was the culture. You grew up when the We Are Ones, the All Days, the Hobos, the Bonadachis. If you partake, like we used to look at Bonadachi like, nah, you don't wear that. You got
Bonadachi side.
you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but you still see the influence in a lot of people here. You see the influence in what they create. It still gives hints to that. And if that's their iteration of what fashion is, who am I to say it's whack or it's dope or whatever? I'm not the consumer that they're targeting anyway. So I was influenced in it by the culture, like what they were able to do to bring, like to have their own sense of, a wave in a sense. But like fashion wise, no. Like I'm not. I'm influenced by more global, things that are timeless. That stuff always stayed where it was. It never really transcended past, the city borders. I mean, or the DMV borders, I should say. So you can go to parts of Northern Virginia, and they got the same clothing on. You can go to parts of Maryland, so you're not going to Frostburg and seeing all the, unless you're going to the school, the people that's at the school. But I'm saying like you in this area, the metropolitan area, like it definitely was big and an influence in the way that like I can do it, but I didn't want to mimic what was already done. Like we're all like nothing like you can get the wheel, but it doesn't come with a tire. So they put their own tire on the wheel. Fashion is already there. It's just the way you do something. So I had to make sure that I did it in a way that was more, unique and ultimately recognizable to pray. Like I didn't want anything else, saying like, oh, this reminds me of this or this looks like this, and I get that a lot where people tell me, and I'm like, man, I don't have no comment on it. You know what I'm saying? Like whether you call that being political or whatever, I just don't want anybody to feel excluded. Like I'm a very inclusive person. Other people they tend not to be that way because they have more ulterior motives of why they're pursuing whatever they're pursuing. But me is to include as many people that I'm cool with in on what I'm doing. So we could all eat. You know what I'm saying? Like we could all definitely find our lane within the lane and never had to go work for the other man. You can come work with the brother man. As cliche as it sounds, like that's how I think about it. Because we complain about going to work every day, but who's providing the opportunities? The alternative opportunities. Rick Ross. I don't. Again, like I'm not like a big rap guy or entertainment guy, but you know, everybody wants to be a boss, but a boss is one who guarantees we gonna eat, right? I can't guarantee that right now. I'm still working on that, but that's me being transparent and understanding that you need more to do more. So if you want to take what I have already and I don't have a lot, we'll never be able to get out of our situation. But
as you continue to grow and go on the journey, you pray and develop the brand, what's something that you want people to understand about the brand or take away from it?
to just always put the work in, like don't just sit around waiting on stuff to fall out the sky. Ain't nobody coming to save you. Ain't nobody coming to save you. It's in you. It's not on you, it's in you. Like it's not in the sky, it's literally everything that you pray about, everything that you pray to, everything that you pray for it's gonna start within. And that's what the brand is built to kind of give you that message every day. It's a daily prayer. It's the work. It's the work. It's always gonna be the work. It's never not gonna be the work you put in. That's how you get your blessings. Blessings don't come from another man. Blessings come from you putting in the work for you and yours. So if that's it, if you get nothing else out of it, it's just doing the work. Because that's something that's timeless. We've been working since the day we even knew who we were. You know what I'm saying? As like, if you think about Adam and Eve, they've been working. They've been working ever since they got put out. They've been working. That's your curse, your gift and your curse. So utilize it, man. Make it make sense for you. Don't mean that everybody's gonna be in the fashion industry and make it big. Or man, go learn how to paint. You know, go be a carpenter. Go learn how to build a house. Like everybody can, have a skill set that they can really, advance in. But you still got to put the work in.
Well, Karl, we want to thank you for giving us your time today. Sitting down, getting straight to the point, straight to the streets. Before we leave here, is there anything you want to pop the people with?
Man, just keep supporting because I'm always provide opportunity to the future. I can't hire the past. The past had their chance. Like my mom is not gonna be one of my employees. It's gonna be one of these, teenagers, one of our sons, our daughters, because the future got a chance to change the world. The past is just waiting on their chance to roll out. So yeah, if I can leave you with anything, it's just keep supporting the work because I'm gonna keep praying, and we always praying forward. We never pray for what's already